News on the upcoming AEW Fight Forever console video game, plus an update on Stu Grayson's AEW departure. A new AEW show is coming to TBS, plus matches announced for Dynamite and Rampage. All this and more in today's AEW News. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. Plenty of AEW news to get into. So let's start off talking about the AEW video game. Yes, we have more and more news about this video game that's, by all accounts, set to be released in, September time this year, maybe? Now, this comes from a report from Fightful Select. Sean Ross Sapp is reporting that Fightful has learned more about the upcoming All Elite Wrestling video game. Now, several people that have done work with the game recently have said, quote, "It was a very happy accident that Kenny Omega needed time off from the ring during the home stretch of this video game being produced." As I mentioned, it's set to be out later this year. Now, Fightful are reporting that Omega has gone, quote, "above and beyond and stretched far to make sure he can be of help in any way possible to the game, and that the time off from the ring has actually helped provide that." Now, they're also reporting that AEW music producer Mikey Ruckus, which basically means they spoke to Mikey Ruckus, has put in a ton of work for the game too. Now, Omega was a huge part in getting, and I'm going to mispronounce his name, so apologies, Hideyoki Gaita Ishiwata on board, who of course was the director for WWF No Mercy, the arguably one of, if not the greatest pro wrestling game of all time. Now, Fightful are also reporting that those involved said that the push to get Gaita was a very smart one, and that his contributions have been invaluable to the production of this game. Now, Fightful are saying that sources are reporting that the roster size for the video game sits at around 50 wrestlers, and that unfortunately there will be some notable omissions in the first release of the video game, but this is 2022, so names that aren't currently in can always be patched and put in. So if they're not on the original roster release, they'll be coming, no doubt about that. Now, Bodyslam.net, shout out to them, also revealed that Owen Hart is planned for the video game, as is part of the licensing agreement that AEW has with the Owen Hart Foundation. They're going to be doing obviously the Owen Hart Cup tournament and also merchandise which is being released, and he's going to be involved in this video game. Now, a few other names that have been confirmed to Fightful include the likes of Sting, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Ruby Soho. They're all to be expected, and that is somewhat of a surprise. I know with Punk and Bryan and Cole and Ruby Soho debuting last year, there was discussion of were they going to be in there in time, what's going on with all that kind of stuff, but they are set to be in the game, which makes sense because they're some of AEW's biggest stars and biggest sellers. Now, they've also been told that there's still a lot of work to be done when it comes to polishing the game up, especially the character models, one of which you can see right there with Jungle Boy. Now, there has been downloadable content pitched and discussed, but hasn't been confirmed as of yet. There's still a lot of online work to be done still, which is common at this stage for a game's development. And whilst not officially announced right now, Fightful are reporting that THQ Nordic is involved, but have also been told that their involvement to this point has been minimal in the game. So that's the latest update when it comes to the AEW video game. Now, I know that a lot of people, when we've seen these little sneak peeks, and I think we're going to see one today or tonight during Dynamite. It might be the first actually official trailer for coming later this year, that kind of stuff. When people have seen like this, like I'm pointing out at the screen right now, or it was the Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho one and all that kind of stuff. It was a Darby Allin one. People say, oh, it looks okay, but I'm not sure about that. It's a game in development, so you can never, you can never truly tell, and I'm sure there's a lot of polishing up going on, and there's been so much made of this game that AEW kind of has to nail it, especially as well, which Tony Khan, when he came out and said that AEW is profitable, if it wasn't for this video game, I'm putting a ton of money into making sure this video game is right. If this video game comes out and it's bad, or it doesn't work or anything like that, then that obviously will be a bit of a problem because people are saying you're putting so much money into this game and it's not good. And obviously, considering WWE's failings in their video games over the course of the last 5 years or so, AEW really needs to nail this one because it can separate them from WWE. And there is a demand for a really, really good pro wrestling video game. Of course, I haven't played the latest WWE one, so I don't know if it was any better than the last one. I think that was a very low bar, so it had to be better. But having those big names on board, as I mentioned, like, Owen Hart, just having Owen Hart in a game is incredible itself. It kind of sells it for me anyway. But also those other names being in there is great. We don't really know a ton about, obviously, the story modes or anything like that. We do know there is a career mode. There isn't going to be a general manager mode, which sucks because that's kind of what people want, and that's why WWE brought it back this year. You could argue, how can they do that with AEW when there isn't a brand split or a roster split or anything like that, which is true, but you can always find ways to sort of figure that one out, right? We'll have to wait and see with that. Like I said, I'm not much of a gamer anymore, honestly. I used to be when I was younger. Obviously, I played all of the WWE games when I was younger. SmackDown 1, 2, Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth, SmackDown vs. Raw, all those kind of stuff. I was playing those games. But, haven't for years. Maybe I will when the AEW game comes out, and maybe we can stream it live on the channel. You can let me know what you think about that. But that's the latest news when it comes to the AEW video game. We have an update when it comes to Stu Grayson. Of course, yesterday we spoke about his departure from AEW after his contract expired. Grayson was quietly removed from the AEW roster page yesterday, leading to people believing that his contract may have ended with All Elite Wrestling. It looks as though that is indeed what has happened, according to a new report from F4W Online, which of course is Dave Meltzer's platform, so he's probably spoken to either Stu Grayson or just Tony Khan. They note that AEW and Grayson couldn't come to terms on an official deal, so Grayson's contract has now expired and he is currently a free agent. I must be said, I saw a clip on social media, and I think it was from maybe like one of these AEW out of context Twitter accounts, and I guess it comes from a recent Being the Elite episode on YouTube. And again, I can't say that I'm constantly up to date with anything like that for Being the Elite on YouTube, but it was after Hangman Page, I guess, recently had selected Jurassic Express to be his tag team partners to go up against Adam Cole and Red Dragon, heading into, I guess, the Revolution pay-per-view. And Stu Grayson, the segment is basically the Dark Order being upset that Hangman didn't select them. Why didn't you select us? We were instrumental in your rise back up, building you back up, and your road to become an AEW World Champion, and you didn't select us. Why didn't you select us? And Stu Grayson basically steps out in front of the whole group and just... it feels like especially now knowing what we know now, feels way more like a shoot. He basically says, I'm sick of it. You didn't select us. I sit here every single week and I'm sitting in catering. I'm not doing anything. I don't even come to half the Dynamites anymore because I'm never being used on the show. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. I can't get on Dynamite. I can't get on a Rampage. I've been here since the beginning and you don't have the nerve to select me. He's weaving it into storyline, but basically he's saying, look, I just sit here and I don't do anything. And I'm sick of it. I'm tired. The one thing I love to do is wrestle, and I'm not even doing that anymore. And that's the problem with AEW right now. And people have been saying it for months and months and months. They said it all last year when people were being signed by AEW is, well, eventually people are going to leave. And two, you can't put everyone on the show. And you can't put everyone not just on Dynamite, not just on Rampage, even Dark and Dark Elevation. You can't fit them all in. And, this isn't, one of these, this isn't the AEW video game where you can have the best roster ever. People have to be cycled in and cycled out. And this was inevitable, and he will not be the last. There will be more that leave this company because they're not happy that they're not working, and they'll go elsewhere. Now, granted, you could say, maybe that's why Ring of Honor is going to be a thing, and maybe he will show back up in Ring of Honor. Maybe he'll show back up in Ring of Honor, and it'll be a case of, the Super Smash Brothers go back to Ring of Honor, and maybe they can do something there. And I think really that's going to be the benefit of Ring of Honor to Tony Khan. It's going to be a place that all of these people that he just can't get on the television program, whether it be Dynamite or Rampage, or even those people that are on Rampage and saying, I want to be on Dynamite, or I want to be front and center, he can send them to Ring of Honor and say, look, whilst we figure things out, go to Ring of Honor. We'll put you in Ring of Honor. We'll put you in main events in Ring of Honor for 6 months, and then you'll get red hot, and we can bring you back, and we can do something with you. Because right now, there just isn't the space. And unfortunately, there's a lot of fat that needs to be trimmed when it comes to the AEW roster. And like I said, Stu Grayson, it's unfortunate that he's left, but he won't be the last. Definitely, he will not be the last. We have an update on a new show coming to All Elite Wrestling and TBS specifically soon. because AEW apparently has a new TV show coming soon to TBS. The Ringleaders TV site, which is owned, of course, by Warner Media, which is why it's legitimate, issued an email to members yesterday to gauge feedback on the potential name of a new AEW series. This is what they said, quote, "A new AEW show will be premiering soon on TBS. We want to know what you think Season 1 should be named. Let us know your thoughts. We can't wait to hear what you have to say." The email then listed the following potential names for fans to vote on: AEW to the Top, AEW Fight to the Finish, AEW All Access, AEW Breakout, AEW Uprise, AEW The Climb, AEW to the Mat, AEW Road to the Bout, AEW Friends and Enemies, AEW On the Ropes, AEW Grit and Glory. Now, it was noted by Fightful Select that there have been numerous pitches for AEW-related reality shows for some of the wrestlers, and that Darby Allin has already filmed content for one of them. There are other talents who have been filmed content for sizzle reels, and at one point there was interest in Adam Cole, Britt Baker, and Swerve Strickland. Now, no other details were provided on this new series, and AEW has not announced plans for a new show as of this recording. Of course, we'll keep you updated. So it's tough to say what this new show would be. They definitely feel reality-ish. I believe, and I might be wrong with this, but I swear I saw something, might have been on social media or it might have been on one of the news sites last week, saying that with Warner Media's merger with Discovery, they were kind of removing a lot of scripted content from their portfolio. So maybe, again, that would lean into more, we're going to do reality and sports, which I guess this would kind of fall into. So we don't know. I mean, look, pro wrestling reality shows, I'm not that big on. Not so much because I don't like them, just because for me, it's very difficult to find the time to watch all of these shows anyway, like Raw, AEW, SmackDown, maybe NXT, Impact. Like, that's tough enough. That's a lot of hours out the week. Then add in reality shows, it's very, very difficult. So we'll wait and see what any of these could be. But I wouldn't think it would be an extra pro wrestling show in terms of in-ring action. Most likely it would be a reality show or something of that nature, especially considering, of course, the Cody Rhodes reality show is not going to be shown anymore on Warner Media. A match has been announced for tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite, a dream match, Tony Khan had said. We'll talk about that in a second. He took to Twitter yesterday and confirmed Rey Fénix versus Dante Martin in a qualifier for the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament. He said, quote, "Tomorrow night on TBS, we have a dream match with a spot in the Owen Hart Foundation men's cup tournament on the line as Dante Martin will battle Rey Fénix." Dream match, no. Dream match, probably not. Is it going to be a good match? Of course it is. And it's going to be a high-flying match, and it would be one of those matches that I'm sure that people that really like a lot of psychology in their matches are going to be furious about, because it's just going to be high spots. And this is the thing, when you're a kid, you always have to remember this through the eyes of what you're watching the match. When I was a kid and I was watching Dante Martin, if I watched Dante Martin versus Rafe, I'd have loved it, because it's superhero, it's comics come to life. When you get a bit older and you just see some of the high-flying stuff and it doesn't make a lot of sense, you go, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm sure they'll have a great match. Tony Khan is a promoter at the end of the day, so he's going to over-exaggerate and say things are bigger before. We had Tony Schiavone used to end every episode of Nitro saying it was the greatest day in the history of our sport. So pro wrestling fans should be used to hyperbole and putting things over the top. But a dream match, probably not. A great match, I'm sure it will be. Finally, a match has been announced for Rampage that includes the Owen Hart tournament as well. But for the female side of things, he announced that Friday's Rampage on TNT will feature Riho, of course, who's returning, versus Yuka Sakazaki. The winner of Riho versus Sakazaki on Rampage will join the 6 confirmed entrants for the women's tournament: Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, Red Velvet, Ruby Soho, and Britt Baker. As I mentioned, Riho is coming back from injury. She broke her collarbone at Battle of the Bouts against Dr. Britt Baker. When was that? In January. So it'll be good to see Riho back. I would assume that Riho wins. As far as who wins that tournament, I will leave my prediction until all of the people have been announced for both tournaments. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on today's AEW news stories in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling News 365, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.